morning, students. Today we learn the object oriented programming concepts. Now, as to communicate, we need languages to communicate with each other. The same way, to communicate with a computer, we need programming languages. Now, the programming languages are categorized into three categories: machine level language, high level language, or rather we say machine language, assembly language, and high level languages. Now, the machine level languages are in the binary format. They are difficult to understand by the programmer, whereas they are directly understood by the computer. The assembly language programs are easier to write as compared to machine language, as here the instructions are given in a form of a code. But still it is difficult for the programmer to do the programming. So the high level languages are the languages which are mostly used to write the computer programs, because they are simple English like languages which can easily be understood, and any complex program can be developed. The program written in these languages, or rather using these languages, needs to be converted to a machine language, and for this we need an interpreter or a compiler. Now using these languages, there are two methodologies used to write the program. One is procedural or the modular approach, and another is the object oriented programming. In a procedural or the modular approach, the whole program is divided into small modules. Module means a small function. But here again the focus is not on the data. Here the focus is on how to achieve a particular result. Whereas on the other hand, the object oriented programming, it focused on the data. Let us see the comparison of procedural versus object oriented programming. In the procedural programming, we have, say, the unit as the function, whereas in the object oriented programming, we class has a unit. What is a class? We'll discuss in the later part of this. Now the second point, in the procedural programming, concentrates on creating functions. As I mentioned earlier, that is, the entire program is divided into small functions. Whereas in the object oriented programming, on the other hand, the programming starts from isolating the classes. The third point, the procedural programming separates the data of the program from the operation that manipulates the data. So that is, the data and the function which are going to operate on data, they are separated. Contrary, on the object oriented programming focus on both of them, that is the data and the functions. Again, they are in the one single unit. So these are the various differences. Now see, what is Oops, that is an object oriented programming. So here the object oriented programming involves programming using objects. So what is an object? An object represents an entity in the real world that can distinctly identified. For example, a student, a desk, a circle or a button or anything which we see around us. An object has a unique identity, state and behavior. Every object is going to have a unique identity, state and behavior. Here on the slide we see every picture, we say every entity is an object. We see here the bird is an object, the aeroplane is an object, the car is an object. So whatever we see here is an object. Now, but the another thing comes, what is a class? So a category of similar objects, so when we group more than one object together, then it becomes a class. So we can say class is a group of objects which has some common characteristics and behavior. As here the picture illustrates that each car has its own body, has its own color, but they come under the the category of class. They have the different sitting capacity, the color, the luxury. Some of them say sedan or say something else. We'll continue this in the next.